I'm Carol Francis. I'm a local painter here in Cardigan area, and my inspiration is really in landscape. And behind me there's one here which is completed on drawings made at the River Itchen, actually in Hampshire. But this one is based on a series of sketches I did while I was down by the river, and I've put them together in a feeling of the river rather than an actual literal depiction. Then in this part of the gallery here, there are others, all of whom are mostly have drawings made en plein air, and then I put them together in the studio. They're all pastel, soft pastel and pencil drawings. And this one, I had a drawing I made at a friend's garden of a lovely pile of wood, which I found totally inspiring. And then the sky above, one was actual plane trails, which really caught my eye, and then another, a mackerel sky, which I totally love. I always think they're fascinating when you happen to bump into them. This one is a drawing of the pond, which is up on the top of my hill, and it's a bit overgrown at the moment, and there are various trees around, and it's more of a kind of feeling of the pond rather than, again, a literal depiction. This one, I happened to see when I was driving some clouds which the rain was clearly coming down from them, and I just loved that feeling of the impending weather approaching. And I had the opportunity of using a little sketch I'd made of a reservoir in France, and I've put them together along with some raindrops which I rather liked. I think it could have turned out rather crass if I wasn't really careful how I'd depicted the rain meeting the surface of the water. Over here, there's a standing stone and some rather funny trees, which are literally up the road from where I live. And against a sort of a dullish evening sky, I think they're really rather comical. And I always look at them, they're quite fascinating. So I've drawn them exactly as they are. And they make such funny shapes. Standing stones are a fascination of mine anyway. I think I love the surface, the kind of texture that you get on old stone. And I have that over here in this one, which also has a Celtic cross in. But the combination of the really, really old stones and then the Celtic cross, which is probably several thousand years later, is rather a nice balance between the two. This one is actually made from sketches I've taken from my sketchbook. Various sketchbooks over the years. I've always kept sketchbooks, and I've drawn, well, over the past 50 odd years, I have acquired quite a lot of sketchbooks. But I particularly love archaeological sites, and these are just little drawings I've done when I've been on site at somewhere in Turkey or Greece, and they are all on different sites, but I rather fancied putting them together as a composite landscape. And this one again, these are from bits in my sketchbook. I think the temple on the hill is at Paestum in southern Italy. And then various bits I've sort of are from my imagination. And then again, this is one that's based on the pond on top of a hill. I've done several pieces of work and it continues to inspire me because it's changing a lot of the time. It always looks different when I go out there and have a look to see what's going on. Yep, quite recently I've got into using soft pastel, and I just feel that it offers a subtlety to be able, when you blend them together, you can get really lovely subtle feel. And then I use quite a soft pencil alongside to get detail. This is a 16B pencil, which is they're quite difficult to get hold of, but it gives me the opportunity of using the colour from the pastel and then the detail, which I will use this rather nice soft pencil to add a little bit more focus to each of the pieces. Here, I rather like the idea of separating out the different areas, and that's very often a theme of my work. I like to actually have like areas such as this one here, which is just the corn, and then where the logs are is just another colour. I rather like kind of separating it out in that way.